Hi Flosstube, welcome to this video. My name is Anna and I'm here to talk about cross stitch. Today is Sunday, August 4th. It is very hot outside, so I am cooling off in the basement while Ethan takes a nap, and we've had a really busy couple of months. I wasn't able to come and give an update on what I stitched on in June because things just were crazy. Things were crazy at work. It's my busiest time of year in July, so I have been really busy with that. And in June, we went on 2 trips, including one week-long international trip to Italy with Ethan. So that went really well, and I'm looking forward to sharing more about it with you guys, but not today. Today, I just have a quick update for the cross-stitching. And I don't have any other special segments. Like, I don't have a purchases section, and I'm not planning on talking about my trip. I feel like I needed to give an update on what I've been stitching because I worked on 7 projects, and that's like half of my whips. So if I wait any longer, then I'm going to be doing basically close to a whip parade in my next video. So I just wanted to jump on, do just the cross stitch, and hopefully I can come back and give a more regular update at the end of August, but we'll see. Also in July, Ethan turned 2, so he is officially 2 years old, and he is just so cute. So again, I don't have a lot to say about his birthday, but I would like to share more about him and his special day maybe on another video. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into the cross stitching so that I can get this video up and organize the things that I've had kept out since my last video. Okay, so one thing that I worked on was my full coverage. What is it? It's Birds and Berries. Oh, it's Mini Bird Song. Too many birds floating around in my head today. Okay, it's Mini Bird Song. It's a full coverage from Heaven and Earth Designs, and this is where I got to. So I finished, oopsies, this Q snap's coming apart. Okay, so I finished the 20 wide diagonal. That was my goal for this year. So I finished that entire diagonal across. It really helps make everything show up once you get the next column done. And then I've also spent some time up here in the sky trying to bring this blue down so that next year when I do another column, I'll have a little bit of a head start. So I worked on this in June. Like I said, I've met my goal for the year, so I'm really happy about that. So I will probably just pull this out again if I feel like working on full coverage, since it's my only full coverage project, but I won't pull it out specifically to try to meet a goal on it since I already met my goal. I have been stitching on it again the last couple nights. While we've been watching the Olympics, I've been putting in more blue in the sky over here, so I have a string hanging here still. But yes, this is on 18 count Aida with 2 strands of floss, and I really like it. Oh, that's much better for the lighting back here. So yeah, you can see there's quite a bit more to go on this one. But I think it's just awesome the way it's coming out. And I'm really looking forward to getting into these brighter colors for these flowers that are in here. So yeah, that was Mini Bird Song. I also worked, I think I worked more on this new project. It's, let's see. Sorry, I have an itchy nose. It's really smoky out. Actually, today is not as smoky as it has been, but the last week or so, it's been really smoky. There's a fire really close to our house. I mean, we're not in danger from it, but we can actually see the smoke like coming straight up out of the mountains from where we are. Anyway, oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. I did have to sneeze and I blew my nose and I'm feeling a little better. We'll see if we can get through the rest of this. Okay, so I also worked on Birds of a Feather, No Bees, No Honey. I think. I set it aside, so I assume I worked on it. I probably should have looked at my pictures before this, but here we are. So this is where I'm at. Oh, okay, let's move that. So this is where I'm at. I think I worked on this. I probably put in more yellow. You know what? Let me put this down. Okay, sorry for that interruption again. So yeah, this is where I got to on this one. I'm happy with my color choices so far. I am going to be making some other changes in like the letters. I talked about I'm going to do these outer letters in the called for browns, but a lot of the letters in this alphabet are also in brown, and they're in this blue color that I'm not using because the fabric's blue. So that gives me a chance to just do whatever I want with all of the letters. So when we get there, I'll start making those decisions. I also think, I haven't gotten there yet, but I think I'm going to leave off these brown blocks and maybe put in another bee, like another flower and another bee or something like that. So anyway, that's where I got to. I'm stitching this one on, I don't remember, a 32 count that I just had in my stash, I think from a used, like a pre-owned piece of fabric. But yep, that's where I got to on that one. The two main ones that I worked on in June were ones that I traveled with. And so I've decided to travel with the two projects that I'm going to try to finish this year. So for the first trip, which was a car trip to see family in Kansas. Oh, and I got a crinkly pattern now. I took Birds and Berries by the Prairie Schooler. I've done all three of these and I'm working on the Cardinal, and I'd like to finish it this year. So I had good progress on it. I don't get a lot of stitching time when I go to Kansas just because it's packed full of fun stuff, but I did get some time in the car a little bit. So this is where I got to. So I think that I'm still on track to finish it this year. I'm probably going to focus on this one in August and try to get it done in the next month. So maybe it'll be done next time I come back, but it'll definitely see some progress. So this is on 32 count linen. I think it's just a natural linen. So, yeah, that's how far I got on that one. The other one that I am trying to finish this year is the one that I took to Italy with us. Again, I had my hands full, and I will tell you guys more about that hopefully at some point. Ethan was a wonderful traveler. He was a lap child on the flights, so we didn't have to buy him a seat, but he's pushing like the limit for being a lap child. He's a big kid. I was gonna say a big baby, but he's not a baby. He's just like a large child to carry on your lap for an international flight. Anyway, he did great, but I didn't get a lot of time to stitch while traveling. It was more like downtime in the hotel, like when Ethan was taking a nap, that kind of time. But anyway, I took this Squirrel by Marishka. This is a kit. I changed out the fabric so it would match the other one that I stitched. Where is it? Here we go. Okay. So this is where I got to. This was really good progress considering how little dedicated time I could spend on it because of traveling. And then of course we were in Italy, so when I had a chance I was out walking and stuff. But yeah, this is where I got to. So this one is also something I want to finish this year, and I think that is also doable, especially if I give it time this fall, because it is kind of it's got fall colors and the acorns and everything. So I am missing some details over here, like this acorn, and there's a moth or a butterfly here. Since I was traveling, I just did whatever was convenient and just stitched on whatever was next. And so I skipped a lot of things. There's also a page break down the middle, and the working copy I had was not the best to capture that overlap. And so when I get this out again, I'm probably gonna have to go through the pattern pretty carefully and just mark what's been done, anything that's wrong, and not count from that. It's thankfully in the squirrel, like the fur, so if I have any mistakes in there, it will not be a big deal. I just don't want to compound the issue by not knowing what's wrong with it. Anyway, really happy with where this one is. Hoping to finish it at the end of the year. And this one I have the supplies to put it in a frame because I want it to match the one I have. So high hopes for this one to be totally finished before the end of the year. But we'll see. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. I'll just have this as a whip next year. That'll be fine. So that's my loose goal. Okay, so that was all of June stitching. And then I decided that I was not going to put up a video for June. Oh, also, on the way home from Italy, we all got COVID. And we've not had COVID before. And so we were sick and tired. I think my biggest symptom was fatigue. Like, I thought that maybe I just had allergies because we had come back to this climate from somewhere else. And then I thought I had jet lag because I just was getting enough sleep, but it had been a few days home and I just was not feeling rested. Part of it was stress at work and everything. And then my husband was just feeling really bad. And so he took an at-home test and he had COVID. So I didn't take a test and we didn't give a test to Ethan, but we were all sick and I think we all had COVID. So that's part of why I did not post a video at the end of June also. We're healthy now. Everything's fine. It ended up not being that bad. I had probably the lightest symptoms just because it was like a light cough and fatigue. But that fatigue was serious. Like just because I wasn't coughing and sneezing and stuff didn't mean I wasn't sick. So anyway, now we're going to talk about the stitching I did in July, which again, I was busy. So it wasn't a ton, but it was plenty to show you. So the first one, or one that I worked on in July, was a patriotic one, and it is Salute to Abigail by Blackbird Designs. Out. It's in this book, and what is this? Sweet Land of Liberty, and it's this one on the top here. I don't know if there's anything else in this book I'm just like dying to stitch because there's a lot of like this style where it's a house. I don't know, something about this one just seemed more appealing. I don't know. Anyway, I changed the colors, I changed the fabric. I'm stitching this on a gray instead of, I think it's like a brownish color that was called for. And I also switched out the floss. There were 4 colors for this chart, and I chose different brighter colors from Weeks Dye Works. So these are the colors I ended up using. The called for colors have a more rustic feel. Like the silks, the red silk is kind of an orange color to me. So I changed it up. All that to say, here's how far I got on this one. So my goal for this one for this year was to make any progress on it, just to pull it out and stitch on it for a few days. So there's a chance this is not going to come back out again this year, but I'm very excited for it for next year because I'm going to make a bigger goal for it, I'm hoping, and can give it more time. So I finished this entire center vase with this flower. I started on this bird, and I started on the border, which, looking at the border on the pattern, I was concerned it would be a little tedious, repetitive, and it could still be. We'll see. There's a lot of it. But just doing this little bit, I'm excited for it. There's enough color changes, and the variegated floss is enough fun to work with that I think I'll enjoy it. So I love this one. I'm stitching it with 2 strands of the Weeks Dye Works over 2 strands of floss, and this is a 36 count fabric. I was going to try to do it 1/2, but I did not like the coverage, and so I just added another one. I like that they're fluffy. They're not crowded. The stitches are fluffy and not crowded. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. Really happy with my color choices for it. I think it's really bright and is more vibrant. Yeah, that's that one. I also picked 2 Christmas projects to work on in July. So one that I worked on was The Spirit of Christmas by Lavender and Lace. This one is really wrinkly, and I just pulled it out of the hoop, so it's in rough shape. It's also one of my oldest projects. It's my oldest non-coverage, so it's pretty old. It's from 2019, and I glued the edges, and so it's like curling up on itself and kind of crunchy, and yeah, learned some things since then. But this is how far I got on this. The blue is not quite as saturated as that, but it's pretty close, and I'm really happy with the fabric choice for this. So yes, my goal for this one was to work on Santa's hat and beard, which you can see I almost finished, but I did not quite meet my goal on this one, so I am gonna pull it out again probably in December, but we all know how crazy December can be, so we will see. And I'm calling the hat done, even though it has some metallic floss for the tassel. I'm gonna wait to decide on that floss to see if it still works with the fabric. I think it will, but I just want to check. So I'm calling the hat done, and the beard is pretty close. And the Santa's face is done, other than a little back stitch on the mouth, I believe, and the eye needs one stitch. I think the other part of my goal on this one was to work on the greenery. I wrote down the left side, so I think I was gonna work down here, but I decided I'd rather work on bring the arch all the way down, so I worked on the right side at the top. I made some progress there. So, yeah, that is Spirit of Christmas. Okay, the last thing that I worked on was this Jim Shore Mill Hill 12 Days of Christmas. It's this. It's a very large project, and it calls for a lot of beads. And I've been kind of hesitant to work on it. I started this 1 year for Mania, and my plan was to work on all of the borders so that I could at least start a color in each block by the end of May. I didn't get even close to that, and that was years ago. So this has needed some attention, and I'm glad that I did because I'm really happy with it now. So let me show you where I'm at, and I'll talk more about some of the things that I'm changing on it. So this is still in the Q-snap with a grand guard around it. But this is where I got to. So all of the stitching, including the border for this block, is done. The rest of the word and the number 5, that's all beads. There are supposed to be beads in the rings, in these letters, and in these leaves. There will be beads to fill in all of that space. So I don't know if you can actually see it here. Let me get it closer. Initially, I stitched this for the border using this really thick petite treasure braid. I believe I just had it on hand. And I wanted to stitch the border in a metallic. They call for it to be stitched in this like buttery yellow thread that's right here. It's in the rings also. But I wanted to do metallic, so I did this, and it was too thick, so I tried it doing half stitches, and I still didn't love it. It wasn't fun, it was hard to count, and so I kind of got stuck there and didn't work on this a lot more. When I pulled it out this time, I decided that I don't like this border. I don't like the floss I chose, which is my own fault. Just didn't like it. I just needed to pivot, change my mind on that one. But then as I was ripping it out, I was thinking about stitching it back in with something else. And I decided that I didn't like the border. It's fine and it looks great once it's done, but it's not a clear pattern. It's kind of like swoopties. And maybe, I mean, there probably is some sort of repetition to it, but it was just confusing to follow and not very enjoyable. And so what I did is I decided that I would make my own border, and that took a lot longer than it should have. I was working at it for a long time, and I am happy with it now. Let me just show you my... So this is graph paper, and this is how I made the border, just with pencil on graph paper. So I knew how wide I wanted it to be, and each block is, with the border, is 100 by 100 stitches. So thank you, Mill Hill, for that one. Each block is 100 by 100. So I knew I just needed a 10 stitch repeating pattern that I could do 9 times. And then I would have space holders for the corners. So I've not resolved the corners yet, but I'm really happy with this like woven chain pattern that I've landed on for the border. And I know it's really subtle. That's the whole point. But I think once you get them all and they're in like parallel lines like this, it will give it a good overall look. So I'm really happy with that decision and the progress I made on executing it. These corners are unresolved. They're just space holders. I was trying really hard to do like some kind of Celtic knot corner or like have them meet together, and I just could not make it work. And so I said, okay, I'll just do the corners as space holders and I will figure something out later. And then I stitched it and realized that I'll never be able to do that now because I stitched different colors different ways. And if I was going to reproduce this border as a designer, I would take the time to make sure that every corner was the same and that the braid was twisting the same way, but I'm not doing that for me. So anyway, what else can I say about this? For the corners, I'm thinking I might come up with a snowflake motif or something that I can do on all the corners, or maybe a flower, like a poinsettia, or maybe every block will get its own corners, which also made me think that this chain has room for beads. Maybe every block gets its own beads. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll just get the stitched, like metallic braid thing. The other thing about this project is I'm not going to use the charms that it calls for. And so for this one, it had 4 leaves up here, and I decided it was kind of empty without the charm. So I added more leaves other places, and they're missing beads, so they'll look more leaf-like with the beads. But to do that, I actually like cut out those 4 leaves after I was done stitching them, and I taped them down other places on the chart. So let me see, I'll show you the back of my working copy. Like I literally took scissors to these and then used tape to put those same leaves somewhere else. So that's how I did that, and I recommend doing it that way. If you want to repeat something, just cut it out. Anyway, the other thing is I'm reducing the amount of purple in this pattern. It's a really colorful pattern, and I'll keep the purple in some places. But for this block, it called for the word rings to be in purple. I decided to use red, like in the 5. But the 5 didn't have enough colors to be representative, so I looked on the pattern and found that this word is in red, and so I just used those colors for this word. Anyway, those are the changes I made. I have met my goal on this one because I have finished this block. So this might get put away for the year. It might not. I've also been working on this while watching the Olympics. So maybe I'll keep this out and I'll finish tearing out this border since I'm done showing you the before and after choices. And when I was ripping out the border, I realized that the spacing here is not going to work. So I'm going to rip out everything above this block that I've stitched already, which is not very much. Just a couple lengths of green and some of this border. So yeah, I am really happy with this one. You can see it's the like glittery material, which is kind of hard to see sometimes. But I'm enjoying the look of it, and I'm excited about this project again. I did not realize how much the border was bumming me out until I ripped it out and did something different. Okay, so that is all I have for the cross stitch. Like I said, I'm not prepared to share things I purchased or have any life updates. I kind of already shared what we've been up to. Mostly though, I'm just gonna spend the afternoon cleaning up the house to get ready for another work week, and hopefully things will start to calm down and be a little bit more normal around here, and hopefully I can stitch and come back and give you guys another update soon, hopefully at the end of August. So thank you for joining me, and happy stitching. Bye.